Okay, well, we're going to get started. Welcome and good afternoon. I'm Kate Cotton, the Candidate and Voter Services Manager at the Registrar of Voters office. And thank you for joining us today for this electronic campaign filing webinar. I want to make sure that you can see our first slide on the screen, and that says Orange County Registrar of Voters Electronic Campaign Filing Webinar. And okay, good. So we don't have any technical problems yet. As you're aware, the filing of campaign reports is not always an easy thing to do, and there's many regulations and factors that need to be considered, and we're hoping today's webinar presentation will assist in making this process much easier for you. But before we get started, I want to do a couple of housekeeping items. In case you get disconnected, use the email address you received from us to rejoin the presentation. And if you need to leave the presentation or your desk, please do not put us on hold, particularly if you have a system with music. We'll all be listening to your music until you return. And if you have any questions at all, just feel free to interrupt the presentation. We'd like to take the questions, as you have them. Okay, so let's get started. I want to give you a little bit of the history of Orange County's campaign ordinance. It was known as the Tin Cup Ordinance, and Tin Cup is an acronym standing for Time Is Now, Clean Up Politics. It went into effect in December of 1978, and the ordinance was adopted to limit campaign contributions to candidates and county elected officials. The revised ordinance, now known as Tin Cup 2, was modified in July of 1992. And it was approved by 85% of the voters in Orange County. And the Board of Supervisors then adopted a change to the ordinance, adding Section 1-6-32. And this change requires county officers, candidates, and committees to file campaign disclosure documents electronically. The first filing schedule affected by this new requirement covered the period of activity from July 1st, 2009 through December 31st, 2009, and it was filed this year, no later than January 31st of 2010. Okay. The next slide that we have is going to tell you who must file electronically. And these are the positions that are covered in the campaign ordinance. It's the Board of Supervisors, the Sheriff Coroner, District Attorney, Assessor, Treasurer Tax Collector, County Clerk Recorder, Superintendent of Schools, Auditor, and Public Administrator. And these are the elected county department heads and the members of the Board of Supervisors. The filing obligation is if they exceed the threshold of $25,000 or more in cumulative contributions. So if they received in the first reporting period $10,000, and that's all that they have received thus far, they would not have to file electronically. But then the next filing period, if they received, let's say $20,000, they would now be up to $30,000, which would be over the $25,000 cumulative limit. So then they would need to file electronically. So you may ask, can other people file electronically other than those holding these positions? And the answer is definitely yes. We encourage electronic filing by all filers who must file with the county. There's numerous advantages to it, and I think that, once you hear the presentation today, you'll see what the benefits are for you and the public. So now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Christina Avila, who's our Campaign Disclosure Filing Officer.
Thank you for attending today's webinar. My name is Christina Avila, and I am the Campaign Disclosure Filing Officer for Orange County here at the Registrar of Voters. And I first want to start off by talking about advantages for the filer. Let's go over these advantages for the filer. First of all, there's no charge. easy accessibility. This system prevents errors. It also electronically records all the documents. As the information is input into the system, it electronically records it. It lets you see a draft document before you actually send the actual report here to our office electronically, and it also contains it permanently into your wherever it is that you want to save the document itself, and also within the electronic system itself. The advantages for the general public are as follows. Redacted version of that filing automatically posts to the public website. Advanced search features. Redacted data can be downloaded, and when an electronic filing is made by a committee, the redacted version of that filing is automatically posted to the public website for the general public to view. There's no more waiting for paper filings to be manually redacted, scanned, and uploaded to the site, which we were doing previously. Let's define redacted. Redacted simply means that the address, phone number, and email information from the filing posted on the public site has been omitted. If a person is interested in viewing the address and the contact information, he or she can come down to our office to access this information. The public has an advanced search feature where they can search across multiple filings for the information. For example, if the public wanted to know which committee John Doe contributed to, an advanced search can be made to view this information. We will talk a little bit more about that as we go on with the webinar. A filer's redacted data can be downloaded into a Microsoft Excel file from the public website. Advantages for the Registrar of Voters Office. It's significant labor savings to the county via automatic form generation, redacted and electronic transmission. It eliminates the time-consuming tasks of redacting and scanning paper file documents. Elimination of incorrect filing saves amendments and their required follow-up from being sent from the Registrar of Voters Office. The automatic letter generation for committees that have filing requirements to the county. Virtual elimination of requests to view redacted filings over the counter due to ability to view redacted filings online 24/7, 365 days a year. Automatic, incremental, and full redundant backup of data stored in secure remote locations. And remember, if you want to view the full information, you must come down to the Registrar of Voters Office, since the filings that are up on the web that we post due to the electronic filing system, those addresses and phone numbers are redacted. So if you do want to come down and view the addresses itself and phone numbers, you will have to come down to the Registrar of Voters Office. Let's go over some frequently asked questions. What is the filer application? The filer application is an online tool that any filer having a filing requirement with the county can use, free of charge. It is a software designed to create political disclosure filings for Forms 450, 460, 461, 465, Form 470, 496, and Form 497. The filings can then be filed electronically to the county through the filer application, and a paper document of the filing can be printed by the filer to be wet signed and submitted to the Registrar of Voters Office. So that wet signature must be filed for it to be filed on time, though the electronic filing system will allow you to have it immediately come to us, but we do need that wet signature for it to be filed. What is required to use the e-filing system? A filer ID, which is your username and password to access your account in the e-filing system. For information about obtaining the account, you're going to call our office and we will give you that username and password. And you'll call the 567-7558 number, and we will give you your filer ID and password immediately. A computer with internet access using up-to-date version of popular web browser must be obtained. You will need a computer with internet access. And if you do not have this web browser requirement, you may come to our office and use the computer in our Resource Center. Software with capability to open and read files in Adobe Acrobat must also be downloaded. So you need those requirements. You can download free software applications from the internet. Adobe Acrobat is used to open compressed zip files and software to read the Adobe Acrobat PDF files. Is the Filer application easy to use? It sure is. This is a very intuitive application. In addition, the Filer application has a both quick user's guide as well as a detailed user's guide that can be accessed anytime you are in the system. The user guides are virtual guides available through links at the very left of every screen of the Filer application. The detailed user guide is in PDF format, which can be downloaded and printed for reference. What do I do if I need help? You can contact the Registrar of Voters office during normal business hours, which would be me, Christina Avila, at 567-7558, or feel free to email me at christina.avila@rov.ocgov.com. You can also refer to the Quick User's Guide and Detailed User's Guide, or send an email to NetFile's technical support, and that's at filerhelp@netfile.com. Just please note that the response time for NetFile is 72 hours from receipt of the email. How do I get the Filer application on the internet? You can access the free Filer application via a link on the Quick Links area on the website for the Registrar of Voters office titled Campaign Finance and e-File. The next set of slides will demonstrate how easy it is to access the Filer application on the internet. You are going to click on Campaign Finance and e-File. You will go to ocvote.com for that, www.ocvote.com. You will then go to Are You a Candidate and Need to File? The next slide here shows you will then click on If you are a filer and need a username and password. Then at that point you will contact our office, and the number listed is there, 714-567-7558. And in that, calling that number, I can give you the username and password if you do not have one at the time. But if you were given a username and password, you will just go ahead and click on that to get into the system itself. And this is the login page. This slide shows that you should have have a filer ID and password, and if you do not, you will then, again, call our office and we will give you that information. Understanding the e-filing process. Once you log in, you will enter your data, the contributions and expenditures that you've received or spent, create a draft disclosure statement, view the draft to check for accuracy, and make data entry changes if necessary. The next slide shows the current filing schedule for the November 2nd election. And as you can see, the first filing is due tomorrow. If you do plan to e-file, you have up until 11:59 tomorrow night to actually send off your statement before it turns into the 6th of October, but it is due October 5th for the first pre-election. Okay, so if you make changes, you will create a new draft disclosure statement, repeat steps 3 and 5 until satisfied with the results, e-file the draft disclosure statement, confirm success of e-filing, print, sign, date, and send the paper copy to the Orange County Registrar of Voters. And again, that is a wet signature. That is our original that we will need. Even though you e-file, you will still need to send in the original. If you are able to make the draft of your filing by creating a new draft disclosure statement, if at the time that you do a draft and you wish to make changes, I want to go back over that as far as making changes to the actual report being filed. You are still able to do so, and on the screen it shows steps 3 through 5, and that should get you to make those changes and be able to look back over the report before you actually do send it. Here's an example of how your report will look once you run your draft statement. The process is very similar to filing taxes online, if you've ever done that. You will be prompted for information, and the report places it in the proper place on the form. If the form looks correct, it is ready to be e-filed. Remember that the original paper filing with a wet signature must also be filed with the Registrar of Voters office. We're going to go over some frequently asked questions about the campaign e-filing system's public site. What is the public site? The public site is where anyone having internet access can search for a political disclosure filing that was filed with the Orange County Registrar of Voters. Again, you can reach this public site at www.ocvote.com. How does the public site work? It's posted to the public site in two ways: electronic filing and paper filing. How long does it take for the filing to be posted to the public site? If the filing was made electronically, it is automatically posted and redacted to the public site the moment that it was filed. If a filer successfully e-files their filing by 11:30 p.m., the filing will be posted to the public site, redacted form at 11:30 p.m. the same night. So it's an automatic thing. One of the benefits to electronic filing is the speed at which the filing is available to the public. For example, how do I get to the public site on the internet? You go to ocvote.com, and in the quick links area, click on Campaign Finance and e-file. As you can see here, the screen shows exactly where you need to click on, and it's right there, Campaign Finance and e-file under quick links. You will then go to Are you a candidate and need to file? And you would go to Are you looking for disclosures filed electronically? You would click there. And then as you can see, this slide shows you that you can search by name, by filer ID, the start and end date of the report itself, and it should pull up a list of those that you are looking for as far as the reports go. So it's pretty easy to use. And if you don't happen to see that information posted there, you can always, again, call our office and find out more information about that. Okay, we're going to go over the public site frequently asked questions here. And it says here, the advanced search, we mentioned the advanced search earlier. What is an advanced search? An advanced search gives you the ability to search for data across all electronic filings. The system allows the user to search for specific information on specific filings. How do you access the advanced search? To access the advanced data search portion of the public site, you're going to click on the advanced search button at the left of the screen. This is an example of the results from the advanced search. The next few slides show how this can be done. You would click on Advanced Search, which is to the left of the page there, the last box that says Advanced Search. You would then click on Search by any combination such as name, occupation, and employer. You would then search for your transaction using a date range and or by an amount range. And search for a specific type of transaction. And it lists their monetary contributions received, non-monetary. It's got an array of areas there that you can choose for the search. And our electronic campaign filing system resources, the PowerPoint can be found at www.ocvote.com/webinar. There's the NetFile tutorial quick user's guide, NetFile detailed manual, which we've gone over. You can also call me, Christina Avila, and I will be more than happy to email you that tutorial if you do not have internet access as far as being able to search. And then computer access to NetFile in our ROV Resource Center. And that concludes our webinar. Are there any questions that any of you have for me at this point? Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and I'd like to just thank all of you for coming, and if you have any questions, you all have my email, and feel free to call me anytime.